The complete A to Z guide to fat loss. This video is going to have everything you need to know about starting and finishing your fat loss transformation. Now, during lockdown, I didn't train at all for about 4 months. All I did was eat and eat and eat. And I put on a lot of weight. I was around 114, 115 kilos after lockdown. And I'm still on my fat loss journey. I'm still about halfway to where I want to be. I am about 19 kilos down after 5 months of dieting every single day. This is pretty much it. This is what it all is. Calories in versus calories out. That's all it is. No matter what diet you do, no matter what you call it, keto, intermittent fasting, whatever you want to do, it all comes down to calories in versus calories out. Energy in, energy out. Number one, you have to find out your maintenance calories. And I'll link down some websites below that gives you a basic idea of what your maintenance calories are. But the thing is, no one knows. No website's going to know what your maintenance calories is. You're not going to know what your maintenance calories is. But it's a starting point. So you have something to start off with, and then you can tweak it depending on how you progress. So once you've got your maintenance calories, that's how much food you need to eat to maintain what you are now. You need to subtract around 300 to 500 off of that number. That puts you in a caloric deficit. Now, for me, my maintenance calories are around 2,700 to 2,800, and I'm right now eating around 2,300 to 2,400, which is about a 400, 500 caloric deficit. Don't go beyond 500. 500 is the max. You want to build muscle. You don't want to lose weight too quick. So don't go over 500. I recommend starting off with about a 400 calorie deficit. Now, once you have your calories, the main thing you need to make sure you're eating every single day is protein. Now, you don't need as much protein as everyone else tells you. The latest study says you need at least 1.6 grams times your body weight in protein. So I'm about 94 kilos right now, and my protein is 150 grams of protein. So once you have your protein, your fats and your carbs, they honestly don't matter as much. Now, it's personal preference. I don't have a steady carbs and fat macro. I just go by day. Some days I eat more fat, I keep my carbs low. Some days I eat more carbs, I keep my fats low. Whatever you prefer. If you like having more fats, if you like avocado, nuts, all those kinds of high fatty foods, go for a higher fat macro. If you like carbs, like me, I like my rice, I like pasta, really carby foods. So I like having high carbs most of my days, as long as you're hitting your calories. So as long as I'm hitting 2,300 to 2,400 calories and I'm hitting 150 grams of protein, the rest of my calories I can eat whatever I feel like. And most of the days it's just rice, it's protein pasta, it's bread. I still get my fats in, but my carbs are significantly higher because I like more carby foods. So it's not about the macros, it's about the calories. So as long as you're hitting your calories, you're going to lose weight. Not much, but you can build muscle. You can tone your body while cutting. While in a caloric deficit, you can put on muscle. You won't be putting on a lot of muscle, but you can put on muscle. Now, one of the most important things is don't lose weight too fast. The entire 5 months that I've been dieting, my calories has been the same, and I'm still losing weight with the same calories. So I'm going to keep those calories until I plateau. So it's been 5 months. I've still been losing weight every single week, and I'm going to stick with these calories, but don't lose weight too fast. Don't have too much of a caloric deficit. Maximum, you want to lose 1% of your body weight every week. 1% of your body weight isn't that much. So for me, 1% of my body weight is just under a kilo. And that's how much weight that I've been losing consistently. I've been losing around 800, 900 grams every week. You want to preserve and build as much muscle as you can during this period. And of course, the most important thing with tip number one is you have to track your calories. You have to track your calories. Now, there's no way around it. If you're serious about building muscle, if you're serious about losing fat, Don't give me the bullshit that you can't track your calories, that you don't have time. It takes me 10 seconds to track the food that I eat on MyFitnessPal. So learn to track your calories. Number two, have a consistent training program. There's so many programs out there. There are so many free programs out there on the internet. Just do a quick Google search, free workout program, and you'll find so many. And choose any one, but stick to it. Do it 100% and do it for as long as it goes. Don't try changing it up. Stick to that program. Do it 100%. It should motivate you to train. You should enjoy your program. I genuinely enjoy the pumps that I get doing a push-pull leg split. I enjoy training push-pull legs. It beats me up. It's hard. It's challenging. And that's why I love it. It motivates me to train every single day, almost every single day, 6 days a week. But stick to a program. Find any program you want, but stick to it. I recommend doing push-pull legs because as a natural, if you guys are natural, doing push-pull legs hits your muscle twice a week. It hits every single muscle twice a week, more volume, and you're going to be progressing faster. It's better to hit a muscle 2 times a week than once a week. That's just my opinion. Choose what you enjoy, but stick to that program. I don't recommend walking into a gym, not knowing what to do, just winging it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Find a program, have a plan. Don't walk into a gym without a workout plan. Know exactly what kind of exercises you're doing. Stick to that program. Tip number 3, don't restrict your food too much. Now, this is one of the biggest mistakes that I've made in the past, restricting my food too much and following a bland diet. A really bland diet I did not enjoy. Now, when you want to lose weight, when you want to build muscle, it's honestly a lifestyle change. You change everything. You don't just diet for a certain period of time and then go off it. No, you change your whole life. You have to get into a healthy habit. You have to eat healthy every single day. And ever since that I've gone vegan, people might think that my food's restrictive, but it's actually the opposite. It's opened me up to a whole new world of plant-based eating. I like experimenting with my food. I like trying out different sorts of foods. There's so many foods that I can choose from, that I can try out. Healthy foods that use lentils, chickpeas, herbs, seeds, all kinds of plant-based foods, whole foods plant-based. To experiment with different kinds of foods. I strongly recommend cooking your own food. If you don't know how to cook your own food, learn to cook your own food. Especially if you live with family, parents, you have to cook your own food. I've made videos on this before. There's no way around it. You have to learn how to cook your own food. You have to learn to cook your own food. You have to enjoy the foods you're eating. Otherwise, you're not going to stick to it. You're not going to end up losing fat because you're going to hate your diet. You're going to hate the foods you're eating. It's going to be bland. You don't want that. You want foods that you would eat even if you weren't dieting. So the foods that I'm eating right now are the same foods that I would be eating if I wasn't dieting. Especially the foods that I'm eating, caloric dense foods. It's really filling and it honestly doesn't feel like I'm dieting, which is why I've been so successful so far in my fat loss journey, because I've just been eating foods that I absolutely love. So experiment with your food. Don't restrict your food too much. It's not a diet. Don't think you can do this for about 6, 12 weeks, 15 weeks and then jump off. No, it is a lifestyle change. If you're serious about wanting to put on muscle and burn fat, you have to do it long term. It is a long term thing. Health and fitness is a long term. It is a lifestyle thing. It's a life thing. So don't think that your diet's only going to be for 3 months. No, it is a long term plan. So I'm halfway where I want to be. So after I've completely finished cutting, I predict it's going to take me 10 months of cutting, which is a long time. And that's the sort of long-term goal you have to be looking at. It is a lifestyle change. So even after you've finished cutting, gotten to where you want to be, you still have to maintain, you still have to put in the work, still have to eat the foods, you still have to train as hard. So look at it as a lifestyle change. Now, I want to break down everything you guys need to get started into bodybuilding as a vegan. Everything from macros to calories, how to work these things out, what kind of supplements to take, and what kind of training plan to follow to build the maximum amount of muscle, or even to train in the most optimal way to build muscle or to lose fat as a vegan. Now, these are some of the things that I wish I knew when I first started, especially when it comes to calories and macros. Because when I first started, it was all about meal prepping and I wasn't weighing any of my foods out. I was just going by fist portion, which was the bro science method back then. But now, years later, I've learned so much about nutrition, so much about macros, tracking food, tracking calories, and it's so much better now. And I feel like I have so much more freedom in my everyday life to eat whatever I want and still stay on track with my fitness journey, whether I want to put on muscle or whether I want to lose fat. Now, first, let's start off with calories. Calories is the most important thing first and foremost because calories it's what's going to determine if you're going to lose weight or if you're going to gain weight. Macros are one thing, and of course protein is important, but more than the individual macros, how much protein, how much carbs, how much fat, more than that, it's all about the calories. It's about how many calories you eat at the end of the day. Now, the first thing you need to work out is what your maintenance calories in, and then you can go from there depending on what your goals are. My maintenance calories are around 3,000, 2,900 to 3,000 calories is my maintenance, but it's not always accurate. Remember, there's no accurate calculator, there's no accurate way of knowing exactly what your maintenance calories are. The best thing to do is have a good starting point, and then from there you can work out if it's working for you or if it's not. Because that's the only way you can really know what your caloric maintenance is by actually trying it out. There's no calculator is going to give you an accurate, a full-on accurate uh, number of calories you should be eating. It's all just a rough idea. And even for me, 2,900 to 3,000 calories, that's a rough idea of what my maintenance calories are. I don't know exactly what they are, but for me, that range works for me. Around 3,000 calories works for me. So right now, I'm eating at a deficit. So I have a slight 250 to 300 calorie deficit right now, which is why I'm aiming for around 2,600 to 2,700 calories, which allows me to still eat a lot of food, but at the same time lose weight over time. And I like having a slow deficit to start off with because I feel better in the gym, my workouts are better, I don't feel like I'm starving myself. And the thing is, when you hit a plateau, when you stop losing weight, all you have to do is bring it down a little bit more. But if you start off with a large deficit, like a 500 calorie deficit, straight off the bat, if I was eating 2,500 calories right now, and starting off with, if I started off with 2,500 calories, and then I hit a plateau, which is completely natural. So if you don't know what a plateau is when you just stop progressing, when you stop either losing weight or you stop putting on weight, no, depending on what your goals are. So for me, a plateau would be if I stop losing weight. So how I would judge a plateau is I like to weigh myself every 2 days. And if I'm not losing weight for about a week and a half to 2 weeks, that's when I know that I've hit a plateau. And it's completely normal for natural lifters to hit a plateau. If you're enhanced, you're never going to plateau. If you plateau, you just increase your dosage. But when it comes to natural bodybuilding, which is what I preach, which is what my channel is all about, you're going to hit a plateau and you are going to lower you have to lower your calories at that point to continue to lose weight. And the thing is, if you have too much of a caloric deficit to start off with and you hit a plateau, you have to lower it even more. So if I was at 2,500 calories, I would have to lower it to 2,400 calories, which is way less food, which is 600 calorie deficit from where I started off from. But if I started off at 2,600 calories and then I had a plateau, I would go down to 2,500 and then 2,400. I always recommend start off with a small deficit. Time should not be a constraint. When you want to lose weight, don't have a time frame of this many months or this many. Don't do that because it's not a diet. When you want to lose weight, when you want to get into bodybuilding, if you want to lose weight or if you want to gain weight, it's not a diet because you have to change your whole lifestyle. To get into bodybuilding, you have to change your lifestyle, what kind of foods you eat, and you don't magically just stop after you've reached a point where you're happy with your physique. You have to keep going, which is why it's a lifestyle. So even if you reach a point where you're happy with your physique, you still have to eat clean to maintain your physique. So it's a lifestyle. So don't look at it as in, oh, the next 3 months I'm going to lose weight or the next 4 months. No, just have a starting point. Don't have an end point. That's my goal. Because if you have an end point, you're more likely to drastically change your calories. You're more likely to starve yourself, etc. Because you want to have this spread over as long as you can. And one lesson that I've learned from the past is if you lose weight really fast, you're going to gain it back just as fast or even faster. So losing weight slow and steady is the only way that you should be doing this. The only way you should be approaching this whole thing. Now let's talk about macros. Macronutrients. So there's protein, there's fats, and there's carbs. And as a vegan, one of the benefits of eating a whole foods plant-based diet, which is your nuts, seeds, legumes, beans, all those kinds of whole foods, one of the good things about that is you're naturally going to be getting in a lot of fiber on a plant-based diet. So fiber should be your priority. Make sure you get in a lot of fiber, a lot of vegetables, which is what I'm trying to do right now. It helps nutrients absorb much better. The one thing that I actually care about is protein. And even protein, I know that I'm going to hit my protein goals every single day. So the only thing I really look at, I track everything using my FitnessPal, which is a free tracking app that you can download. If you don't know what it is, I always promote my FitnessPal. I've always just used my FitnessPal because it's the first one I started using. Obviously, you can use whichever one you want. They all work the same. But the only thing I look at on my FitnessPal is the calories and the protein. As long as I'm getting the minimum amount of protein, which is around 140 grams of protein for me, I have a range of 140 to 150 grams of protein. But as long as I'm hitting the minimum amount, the only other thing that I care about is calories. Because every day, the kind of foods that I eat changes. Some days I have high fat days, some days I have a high carb day. And fats and carbs, it doesn't really matter. You can change this every single day if you want. It's not going to make much of a difference because what's important is calories. And as long as the calorie stays the same, you could still be eating 26, I could still be eating 2,600 calories and one day have a high fat day with the same amount of calories. And the next day I could have a high carb and low fat day with 2,600 calories. So calories is what's important, not the numbers, not the fats or the carbs. And it's better to keep, for me, it helps that I keep changing them. You don't want to have a completely low fat macro or a completely low carb macro goal for your whole journey because it's just unsustainable. You want to switch it up, you want to switch things up. Now, let's talk about training plan. What kind of training plan should you be following to make the most amount of muscle or to make the most amount of gains in general? Because I believe that even if you are in a deficit, you can still build muscle if you have a deficit small enough. Honestly, it doesn't matter what kind of training plan you do, but the only thing that matters is you hit every muscle group twice a week. That's all I say. Hit every muscle group at least twice a week. And you could do this either in a full body split, you could do full body twice a week, you could do upper lower twice a week, so 4 days in the gym, or you could do a push pull legs method, which is a 6 days in the gym method. Training everything twice a week is the most optimal way of training. So that's what I recommend. I've always loved doing a push-pull legs method, so that's what I follow. But obviously you need to follow something that you can fit into your lifestyle or you're just not going to stick to it. It's not going to be sustainable for you. So have a think about it, see what you can fit into your lifestyle. I know that not everyone can go to the gym 6 days a week, but if you can't, look into doing a upper lower kind of split. Let's talk about supplementation as a vegan. What are some of the supplements that I would recommend? The supplements that I take are magnesium, I take B12, I take vitamin D, I take vegan omega-3, and then I take creatine monohydrate, which is more of a gym supplement. But these supplements I would recommend not only for vegans, but honestly for everyone. So you don't have to be vegan to take these supplements. I honestly think everyone should be taking supplements. So everyone should be taking these supplements because we don't live in a world where we can get all of these supplements from food, from natural food anymore. So it's always good to supplement. So these are the supplements that I take, and these are the ones that I recommend every vegan and every non-vegan take. Now, I just want to take a moment to just say thank you to everyone, all the supporters of my channel. I know I don't have that many subscribers right now as other channels, but I really appreciate every one of you watching my videos, commenting every single video, and just supporting me along the way. Some of the people that I know that have been supporting me every single video along the way are, just to name a few, Paddy Tunati, One Man, 1 Year, 150, Shamir Shamnu, Vanima, Rob Mangs, and Sonja. That's just to name a few. And I know there's a lot of you out there that are supporting me every single video. And I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. And I'm glad that my videos are helping you guys. That's the biggest thing for me, that my videos are actually helping people out there to put on muscle, to start their fitness journey, and without unnecessarily harming animals, because that's what my channel is all about. It's about vegan fitness. And to give back to all of you guys for supporting my channel all this throughout this whole journey, I have written a free ebook that everything that I talk about in this video is from my ebook. So I wrote an ebook called Vegan Bodybuilding 101, where I go through everything from calories to macros. It breaks down everything you need to know to get started into lifting weights. So it has how to calculate your calories, how to calculate your macros, what kind of training plan to follow, supplementation, everything. So if you want to get a copy of my ebook, link will be down in the description box below, and it is completely free. This is my way of giving back to everyone who supported my channel up until this point. And I know we have a long way to go, but I am just truly thankful and grateful for all of you guys for supporting my channel this whole time. Thank you guys so much. And this is the least that I can do for you guys. So you can grab a copy of my ebook from the link down below, and you can download it, have a look at it, calculate your macros, calories, everything, and make those vegan gains. I'm going to give you genuine fat loss tips that I've been using that has boosted my fat loss journey, and it's helped me stick to my calories that I need to be eating. It's helped me stay sane. It's just helped me overall. And these are things that I learned recently. Well, some of them that I've learned recently, but I haven't always done these things. And it's not things that I've spoken about in the past, like calorie restriction and the obvious things for fat loss. But these are little tips that you can add in your day that can help boost your weight loss. This isn't in order. All of these things have helped me heaps, but number one is diet soda, or just diet foods in general. Sugar-free foods, diet soda, diet Coke, Pepsi Max, anything sugar-free, anything that's barely any calories, especially drinks. It's helped me so much. Don't shy away from them, especially when you're trying to cut. It can help you so much. And I use it to curb my appetite whenever I feel like I'm craving something, because I like to eat off all my foods around before 7 p.m. at night. I feel better the next morning if I finish off eating earlier on. So when I sleep later on at night, sometimes I get a bit, I start to crave foods, not because my body needs it, but because I just get bored, or just because I haven't eaten in a while. And that's when I would have a Diet Coke or a Pepsi Max, anything sugar-free diet. And there are barely any calories. And as soon as I finish off drinking one can, I feel fine. I feel so full. Why would I not use that? Whenever I feel like I'm craving something, it just makes sense to drink something like that. And not only then, but even when you go to social gatherings, when you go out to a party, when you're out with your friends, obviously stay away from alcohol if you're serious about trying to lose weight. Diet soda in general is going to be your best friend, especially diet sugar-free energy drinks. Now, you don't want to overdo your energy drinks, especially caffeine with pre-workout caffeine. I would never have an energy drink and a pre-workout on the same day, because that would just give me the biggest headache. I used to be addicted to caffeine. I used to have such a high tolerance for caffeine, but I've tapered off now. Now I just half scoop my pre-workout,
But sugar-free Monster, I love it. And it's barely any calories. It tastes amazing. It gives you that energy boost. And whenever I'm out in town with friends, that's what I drink, or a Diet Coke if it's available. So don't shy away from diet drinks, sugar-free drinks. They can be really beneficial. It can help you stick to your diet. It can help you when you're out socializing, and you don't want to be that guy who's not doing anything. Like if you have a drink in your hand when you're out, it just feels like you're not missing out on anything. And at the same time, you're not screwing up your progress. So diet sodas, diet foods, or even sugar-free things like maple syrup. Sugar-free maple syrup is amazing. It's not going to taste exactly the same as a real maple syrup, but when you're so deep into a cut, everything tastes good. Every single thing tastes good. So diet sodas, sugar-free foods, don't shy away from them. Enjoy them. Now, number two is walking. I've never always done this. I've never always been someone who implemented walking in my cut, but I've started walking pretty much every day now, taking my dog out for a walk or even just going out for a walk. And I love walking, especially when you have music in your ears and you're just walking, exploring the place, especially when you're at a new place and you just go for a walk. Walking is so good, especially when you're cutting, because it doesn't take that much effort and you're not putting extra resistance on your body. So one thing that I've noticed is whenever I go for a walk and I come back, I don't feel as hungry. Now, when I used to do cardio in the gym, like Stairmaster straight after training, I used to feel so hungry after Stairmaster because it requires so much intensity from your body, Stairmaster. But going for a walk, it's so easy. You can go for a long walk and come back and you'd still be fine and you still would have burnt off a ton of calories, especially when you're walking every single day. Now, that's one thing, going for walks. But another thing that I've started doing is whenever there's an opportunity, taking the stairs. And this may seem like something that's obvious, but it's just something that I've never done before. Taking the stairs, taking the steps, even something as small as when I want to fill up my water bottle in the gym, I don't fill it up all the way. I fill it up just a little bit. So I'm forced to walk all the way back to the water fountain to fill up again and walk back. And it may not seem like that much, but all these steps, they add on. And in your week, you would have done way more steps than if you hadn't done these things. That will help in your fat loss journey. That will help you burn more calories. That will help you just be more fit in general. Just taking the active route always. Every time you have an opportunity to walk, do something active, do it. Even if it's a couple of steps to do something, do it. And in that moment, it won't feel like that much, but it'll add up. Throughout the week, it's going to add up. Now, the last thing that has helped me is fasting. Now, I'm not talking about intermittent fasting, but I am someone who likes to eat a lot of food at once. I can't do smaller meals. And I know that a lot of people do promote smaller meals. A lot of people prefer eating smaller meals when they're cutting, but I just can't do that. When I'm eating smaller meals, I feel more hungry. So what I do when I feel like some mornings I wake up, I feel like I crave a lot of food. So on those days, I just fast. I don't count how many hours I fast for. I just fast till about 3 p.m. And at 3 p.m., I eat all my meals. All my meals back to back to back. I'm done by like 4:30, 5. And after 5, I am full because I've just eaten like more than 2,000 calories worth of food in one sitting and I feel fine. I'm still on track. This is something that I've started doing and it's helped me so much because I don't always feel like splitting up my meals into 3 meals. Some days I feel so hungry, and if I can fast for a few hours and give my body the chance to get in all that food at once, I'm still going to be on track. I'm still hitting my calories, energy in versus energy out. So fasting has helped me so much. And it's not necessarily something I do every single day, but every odd day where I feel like I want a lot of food, I just eat all my meals back to back to back. You can try eating one meal a day if that works for you. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's all about finding what works for you. And all of these things, when it comes to fat loss, it's all essentially calories in versus calories out. And if you can find that perfect balance of what works for you, you're set. And what works for me is 3 medium-sized meals most days, and some days I just have one huge meal. And if you do screw up one day, it's not gonna destroy your whole progress. Losing weight is what you do over time. Like, look at it as a weekly thing. If you eat a bit too much one day, just eat a bit less the next day, which is why tracking your food is so important. So you can be precise and not, even if you aren't necessarily accurate, because tracking your macros isn't accurate, you still have a basic idea of how much you're eating. And if you overeat one day, just undereat the same amount the next day, as long as you're consistent. Look at it as a weekly thing. I used to be someone that used to look at it as a daily thing. If I screwed up one day on my diet, I would feel so bad about myself. And that would lead to me screwing up the next day and the next day. But if you look at it as a weekly thing, you screw up one day, just get back on the next day. That's all it takes. I really hope these tips helps you guys somehow. They've really helped me, and I'm still going to use these tips. I'm still using these tips to further get to my goal weight, which is 80 kilos. And right now I'm about 89 kilos. So I still have months of cutting to do to get to my goal weight. And once I get to 80 kilos, I can look at myself and assess how I look like. But I feel good right now. I'm eating a lot of food, a lot of good food. And that's a good thing about whole foods plant-based is you can eat a lot of food for less calories, if that makes sense. Because it's so calorically dense that you eat a little bit and you feel full with whole foods. So I feel good in my cut. My calories isn't going to change for a while, but I hope these tips helps you guys.
The best cardio for fat loss or weight loss. Now, we have this habit, especially in the fitness industry, of just overcomplicating a lot of things that it's not really complicated. And I think cardio is one of them. And honestly, this has been one of the biggest changes that I've implemented and that has really affected me in my training, in my cut, because I am cutting right now. And it's honestly the type of cardio that I'm doing. And I honestly think for everyone, this is the best cardio for fat loss. If you want to build muscle, if you want to maintain muscle, and if you're on a cut and you're not sure what kind of cardio to do, this is the best kind of cardio. This is the cardio that you should be doing. And it's really not that hard. What it is walking. Now, walking is something that it's not the first thing that comes to your mind. It's not the first thing that came to my mind. And this is something that I learned recently, how beneficial walking can be for fat loss. For example, I just even a few months, even a year ago, I thought that to get to low percent body fat, to get really shredded, to really lose my fat, that I had to start bringing in cardio, lots of cardio, a lot of Stairmaster sessions, staying longer in the gym, longer than I had to be, because honestly, I hate doing cardio in the gym. That's one of the things that I hated the most, is doing cardio in the gym, because I always used to do cardio after weights, and as soon as I finished weights, doing cardio, it just felt so bad. I felt so tired, I felt so hungry, I felt so dead, which is why I used to train at night, so that I could just do cardio and go to bed. And I hated it. I started to hate training because I did not want to do cardio straight after training. And I really overcomplicated everything because I was adding in a cardio session after every weight session, about 30, 40 minutes of cardio. And I think that if you're not competing, if you're not competing for a bodybuilding show, and if you just want to lose weight, to look good, to be shredded, if you want to hit that 10% body fat, 10 to 12% body fat goal, you can get there by walking. And honestly, one of the biggest investments that I've made recently is getting a Fitbit tracker. And it's not an Apple Watch or anything, it's just the cheapest Fitbit that I could get. And you could get any kind of tracker, but I recommend getting a tracker and not using your phone, because as soon as I got this, I used to look at my phone at how many steps that I was doing. My iPhone was undercounting my steps by a lot. I'm talking 3,000 to 4,000 steps. So I would say get
a, forgot the name, I forgot what you call it, but get one of those fitness bands, get the cheapest one you can. It's the best investment that I've made because I can look at how many steps that I'm taking every single day. And I'm not looking at the calories that I'm burning, I'm not looking at any of that stuff. I just try to hit 10 to 15,000 steps every single day. And that's my cardio. And I just moved to a new city. I moved to Sydney. So walking for me is fun. I look forward to my cardio sessions. And as you can see, I'm on my rooftop for a change of scenery. You can pretty much see most of the city from here, which is amazing. But especially when you're in a new city, especially when you just want to go out in nature, go for a walk, it's exciting. I love going for walks. And to know that I'm losing weight, I'm losing fat going for walks, it just feels so much better. And some days when I feel like I need to add in more cardio because I've had a bigger meal, I've gone slightly over my calories, or I've had a meal outside that I shouldn't have had, I just increase my steps. So instead of me being in the gym doing cardio, doing a stairmaster, and doing 30 to 40 minutes of cardio, I just go for a walk for an hour. And an hour going for a walk, it goes by fast, especially when you're out in nature or if you're just sightseeing. It's the best. Walking is so beneficial. And one of the greatest things about walking is you don't feel hungry. I don't feel hungry after a walk. But after a Stairmaster session, used to feel so weak and so hungry. And it just really messed me up because I used to I used to binge a lot because I just felt so weak. I felt so dreaded, so dead because I was overdoing it. You want to make cardio as simple as possible. So I would highly recommend going for walks, getting a fitness band and tracking your steps, trying to hit at least 10,000 steps. And as you get leaner, as your uh, weight loss starts to plateau, you don't have to decrease your calories, just go for longer walks. That's what I'm doing. My calories has been the same for the past few months. And all I've been doing is I went from not walking at all to slowly going for 15-minute walk, 20-minute walk. Now I go for like 50, 45, 50 an hour walk just around the city. Plus this is a city that I haven't really explored much. And every time I go for a walk, it's so nice just experiencing how everything is. So walks has really changed my training so much because it's fun. I look forward to it. And of course, if you play sports, if you do something that you actually enjoy, that's going to be beneficial as well. But the thing is, walking is a variable that you can change, you can control. You can control the amount of steps that you take. Not every day, some days maybe at work you have to walk a lot, but when you go for a walk, when you have a set time every single day that you go for a walk after work, after everything, you can control how long that walk is, you can control how many steps you want to go for, and you can control the intensity, and it's really not that intense. And the longer the walk, the more fat you're going to lose, you're not going to feel it, and you're not going to feel hungry, you're not going to feel dead after a walk. I feel so energetic after a walk. Sometimes like I go for walks right before bed and I can't sleep because I'm just so pumped up. I don't feel dead anymore. So walking is, in my opinion, the best form of cardio that you should be doing to lose fat. That is the only cardio that I'm doing right now is going for walks. And I'm gonna go for a walk right now, today, after this tonight. I like going for walks at nighttime. I feel like the weather's better and the city just looks better at nighttime. But you can go for a walk whenever you want. Just make sure that you're tracking your walks. Don't track the calories. Calories doesn't matter. It's really not consistent, but what is consistent is the steps. And I don't recommend using your phone as a guide because throughout your day, you're not always going to have your phone on you, but one of these bands you're always going to have on. So get one of these bands, get the cheapest one you can, go for walks, and you're going to see the progress. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Don't do endless amounts of cardio in the gym, stairmaster, treadmill. It's not necessary. Just go for a nice walk out in nature. Go for a hike. I love hikes. And even just making sure you get in steps. For example, if you're going to catch a train, or if you're just walking somewhere and there's an escalator and steps, just take steps. Get in as many steps as you can. Just create opportunities for you to get in more steps. And these can be little things throughout your day, but these things will add up. Like taking the stairs instead of the elevator or escalator. Just that little change will add up throughout your week, and it's really going to make a difference. So whenever you can, take the more active route. Pick the option where you're moving the most. The three most important supplements that I take. Well, the three supplements that I take at all for lifting, for bodybuilding. So I'm not going to talk about my daily vitamins and minerals, like my vitamin D, magnesium, all that stuff. Those, I'm going to make a video on that. Well, I have made a video on that. I will link down below. But in this one, I'm going to talk about mainly bodybuilding supplements that enhances my performance in the gym, like your protein powders, pre-workout, all those sorts of stuff. So I'm going to talk about the only three supplements that I take and that I recommend. The first supplement is pre-workout. Pre-workout, I use this Max's Lab Series pre-workout beta pump compound. I'm not telling you to take that. You can use whatever pre-workout you want, whatever helps you in the gym. Try out different pre-workouts, see which tastes you like, if you like the taste, if you like the caffeine more. I like the caffeine content. I like having high caffeine pre-workouts, and I cycle off caffeine, so I don't always take caffeine year round, because at some point it makes no difference because my caffeine tolerance is just so high. So I cycle off for about a month and then I jump back on it. So pre-workout, it really gives me a boost in the gym. I love taking pre-workout, and if you can take something that enhances your focus and your performance in the gym, why would you not? Obviously, you choose what you want to take before working out. It really depends on your choice. I take pre-workout. If I'm traveling and I don't have my pre-workout with me, I would just take like an energy drink or some sugar-free source of energy right before working out. Something with caffeine hit that just wakes me up before gym. When I'm cycling off of pre-workout, I don't usually take anything. I might have some creatine before working out, but I usually don't have anything. I go straight in the gym and I'm fine, but I'm always looking forward to when I'm cycled on pre-workout, because my workouts are just so different to when I'm not on pre-workout. I like pre-workout so much that if I want to have it year round, I have to cycle on and off, because at some point your caffeine tolerance is so high, it doesn't make any sense to keep taking something that has no effect on you. So it's always important to cycle on and off of pre-workout, I feel. Now, the second supplement that I strongly recommend, and honestly, I would say if there was one supplement that actually works, that actually gives you a performance boost apart from caffeine. Obviously, caffeine gives you performance boost anyway because it's caffeine. But apart from caffeine, one supplement that actually works like it's marketed to is creatine. Now, creatine, I've been taking creatine for years, and creatine has been a staple part of my supplement routine because it has you feel the benefits of creatine a week after taking it. You feel stronger in the gym and you feel fuller because it helps you retain more water. And the science backs up creatine. Creatine has such an effect on your performance in the gym. And the science is there. It's not bad for you. I strongly recommend taking creatine. And it honestly doesn't matter what creatine you use. Go to your store, get the cheapest one. It's all the same. Creatine monohydrate, it's all the same. You can get the cheapest one. I use Musashi, but it doesn't really matter. I'll have all the links for all my products, everything that I use, down in the comments down below. Check it out. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. It is an affiliate link, so if you use those links to buy anything in Amazon, it does help my channel out. So check that out if you're interested in what I take. But it doesn't really matter what kind of creatine you take, as long as you do take creatine. And 5 grams, it doesn't have to be before gym, could be before gym, after gym. It doesn't matter when you take it, as long as you take it every single day. 5 grams mixed with some water, and that's all you need. Now, the third most important supplement that I take is protein powder. This is my favorite tasting vegan protein powder. This is blessed and it's really cheap. Sometimes I find it on sale at stores for $40 Australian, which is pretty cheap for vegan protein powder. But honestly, I do rate this as one of my most important supplements. I don't take it every day. Now, the reason why I don't take it every day is because I like eating food more than I like protein powder. And I may add it in my smoothies, or I may have it at night if I'm missing protein. But usually I like eating my calories more than drinking my calories. So when would I use this? I would use this if I'm making a protein recipe, like if I'm making French toast, or if I'm making any kind of recipe that involves protein powder. But I don't take it every day because without protein powder, I end up hitting my protein goals of 150, 160 grams of protein. So I don't think I really need it every single day. But it is important because when I'm not home, when I can't cook, and when I'm out and about, it is so helpful. It really helps hitting your protein intake. It's just an easy way of getting protein in your diet, especially if you're a busy student, if you have a busy lifestyle. It's always good to have protein powder because you don't know what kind of situation you're going to be thrown in. Because my calories right now, I'm sitting around 2,700 calories, which is still a deficit for me. But some days I just don't feel like eating that much food. Some days I just don't have the appetite. And that's when protein powders come in hand. Those are my 3 most important supplements. And out of those 3, the most important, if you only had to choose one, I would say creatine. 3 powerful cutting tips that isn't just a generic eat in a caloric deficit, all of that stuff. These are things that I've rarely spoken about in the past before, and these were extremely powerful in my fat loss journey. So let's talk about it. When you're on a cut, when you want to get shredded, when you want to diet down and lose weight, it can seem like it's a really complicated process. It's really not. Essentially, it comes down to calories in versus calories out. That's the basic science of it. But there's a lot of mental discipline that goes into it as well, especially when you're restricting food, when you are controlling your own cravings, when you have to diet down. There's a lot of things that takes place. There's a lot of challenges that you come across, and there's a lot of things you learn about yourself as well. I'm going to talk about 3 things that I sort of went through and I think will be highly beneficial for other people to get on top of and practice so that they can have a successful cut. I honestly think if you can't master these 3 things, you're not going to have a successful cut. It's not going to be sustainable. It's not going to be very healthy. So pay attention. Number 1, and I hear this so much, this is the most common thing that I come across, is don't rush the process. The amount of people that I've come across that want to lose weight really fast, a lot of older people that want to lose weight really fast, or they want to lose tummy weight really fast, and there's just so much misinformation out there around, spot reducing fat and how fast you can realistically lose weight, because they see celebrities go from movie to movie, lose tons of weight really quick, but they're also on PEDs. They also do extreme measures to get to that point, which is what a lot of people don't understand. So don't rush the process. Your body is smart. Your body's gonna know if you're rushing the process, and what it's gonna do is, if you crash diet for 6-12 weeks, you're gonna put the weight back on just as fast as you lost it, and even faster. So it's not sustainable. Rushing the process, you have to take your time, take it nice and slow and steady. That's a successful cut right there. You want to take it nice and slow and steady. It shouldn't even feel like a cut, if that makes sense. You shouldn't be hungry straight off the bat. Day 1 of dieting, day 1 of cutting, you should not be feeling hungry. You should not be starving yourself. So don't rush the process. So you have to tell yourself, this is one of the most important things that I've had to come across, is if you don't, obviously if there's a date, if you're competing or something like that, there's a date there, put a realistic expectation on the timeline. Don't be like, I want to lose this much weight. Don't have an idea of exactly how much weight you want to lose by a certain period of time, because weight is, it could be muscle as well. I don't know how lean I'm going to get. I don't know what weight I'm going to be when I get really lean. I can't be like, I want to lose 4 kilos by this, because I don't know how I'm going to look like 4 kilos leaner, you know? Like, you don't know how you're going to look like. Even the same goes with the opposite. If you want to bulk, if you want to bulk, if you want to become 4 kilos heavier, how do you know what you're going to look like 4 kilos? Where'd you even get that number from? So I would say, don't have a particular number, have a visual expectation of how you want to look. There's no point having like, I want to be this weight, I want to be this percent body fat. No, because a lot of times your perception of body fat and weight is skewed, especially when you're comparing the people online on social media, in movies. It's really skewed. So have a visual representation, have a visual idea of how you want to look like. That's what I did. I didn't have a goal weight. I just knew how I wanted to look like. And as I got leaner and leaner, I have an idea of how I'm going to look like once I'm below 80 kilos, once I'm 78, 77 kilos. So don't rush the process. Take it nice and slow. You should be losing at least roughly 1% of your body weight every single week. 1%. So that's a healthy, sustainable goal. And don't rush the process. There's just no point of rushing the process. Number 2 is your drive. Obviously, cutting takes a lot of motivation. You need to be motivated. You need to be disciplined and consistent on a lot of things. And this is something that I've learned pretty recent, in the past year and a half, is how much you can create drive in yourself. If you feel like you have zero motivation, if you feel like you have no drive to lose weight, to look a certain way, it essentially comes down to your dopamine levels. Everything you do, every activity you do has a dopamine spike, and once it spikes up, it doesn't go back to baseline. It goes below baseline, which is why, after drinking pre-workout, there's a crash. After a big night out, alcohol, you crash, you have a hangover the next morning. Everything that goes up high has to come down. And a lot of times when dopamine is spiked, it comes back down. Almost reverses exactly how it went up, comes back down. So there's a lot of things that you can focus on to really balance out your dopamine levels, bring them to a normal point. And some of the things that you can do is, if you watch porn, quit watching porn. Take less time on your phone, watching Netflix. Spend less screen time. And just in general, like, do things. So quit watching porn, spend less time on your phone, spend less time around screens, spend more time outside. These little things that you do, these little tasks that you take, what actually happens, what I found to happen is I started to become more driven. I started to actually get more motivated, and it was easier for me to get into a discipline once I did these things. Once, I quit watching porn. Once I spent less time watching shows. I don't even remember when the last time I watched a show was. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have no fun at all, but everything should be in balance. Everything should be balanced. And another thing that I like to do every now and then, which I'm doing right now, is taking a break from caffeine, because caffeine also spikes your dopamine. I'm taking my tea break off of caffeine because I've been using it so long, and it's gotten to a point where I don't feel like I could train without caffeine, and that's a really dangerous point to be at. So what I'm going to do now is go off caffeine and start to bring it in, maybe after a month, only on days where I feel like I really need it. So I'm training legs, or if I feel really sleepy, rare occasions I'll take pre-workout. But pre-workout is something that I slowly want to control. I don't want to phase off. Obviously, pre-workout is a really powerful supplement, and I stand by pre-workout. It's helped me so much, but there has to be some kind of control there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to slowly come off slightly, and then slowly introduce it on days where I really need it. And on days that I don't need it, I'll probably look into a non-stim pre-workout or something similar, something like that, just to get me going in the gym. But caffeine, it's a really powerful thing. And same with anything else that spikes dopamine. you want to keep it controlled. You want to, make sure that obviously things that massively waste your time, like watching porn, cut that out completely. Just doing that, just cutting out porn, you will see such a big difference in your dopamine levels, in your focus, in your drive. It's crazy. It's one of the most powerful things you can do. So I made a video about this. You can check out right here. That's my experience, but that's one of the most powerful things that I've done. So dopamine levels, there are ways that you can sort of hack your body's natural dopamine levels. Not necessarily hack, but bring them down to a baseline level. So you're not, always going up and crash, and you sort of get it from healthy activity like working out. Working out gives you a natural release of dopamine. So that's something that I've done, and I found that was why I lacked motivation, because I was doing all these different things that took my dopamine out, that gave me that short-term pleasure, that I just crashed and I couldn't do anything that I actually wanted to do. So that's what I found to have helped me with my motivation and my drive. Number 3 is cutting out negative influences. What do I mean by this? I mean, not everyone's going to be on the same journey as you. Not everyone's going to be on the same weight loss journey as you. And you're going to be put in situations where you have to make choices. And you have to learn how to say no to things. You have to learn how to say no. No to food, no to events, no to going out. And I'm not saying you can't have fun at all, but the reason why you have to learn to say no is you have to sort of put it into perspective. What's more important? Are your goals more important? Or is going out every single weekend more important? You can obviously go out and have a good time. I'm not saying don't have fun at all, but at some point you really have to take a step back and look at the balance that you have. Is it really balanced? Are you really balancing your health, your goals, whatever you want to do, with, pleasure, short-term pleasure, with things like going out, getting drunk, drinking alcohol. So you have to, at some point, cut out negative influences. And that doesn't mean cutting out friends. That doesn't mean, saying no to any social event. You don't have to become a social hermit, but you can still go out. You can still go out, have fun with your friends. Just say no to alcohol. Or at the very least, stop at 2 standard drinks. Make it fit within your macros. Make it fit with your lifestyle. Say no at some point. Or if you're going out to eat with your friends, if you're going out to dinner, choose a macro-friendly place, or say no to that extra calorie. Say no to dessert. Say no to those junk foods. Pick the healthiest food that you can. That's what I mean by saying no. If your friends order some entree that's, cooked in oil, saying no. You have to learn how to say no. And if you don't learn how to say no, you're not going to be successful in your cutting journey. So saying no to friends, to family, it builds discipline. And the more you practice it, the better you're going to get at it, at saying no. And it's just choices you have to make at the end of the day. Like everything is a choice. Every choice you take can either bring you closer towards your goal or put you off track from your goal. And you can always get back on track. But if you're constantly getting off track and coming back on, off track, coming back on, you're wasting time. Why not get to your goal as quick as you can? Because that life is always going to be there. Going out, having fun with friends and family. Obviously, don't cut it out completely, but you have to sort of balance it out. You have to look at the pros and cons. Go out, don't eat. But another thing you have to really focus in on is sleep as well. How many times are you willing to risk getting good amounts of sleep, even on weekends? Because your body doesn't know if it's a weekday or a weekend. Your body just wants to sleep on time. So I would say as much as you can, as much as you realistically can, focus on getting in good quality sleep at the same time every single night. That's going to make such a big difference on how you feel, on your drive and your motivation and your routine, consistency.
And there it is, everything you need to know about fat loss. If you guys have any questions, you can hit me up on Instagram. I'd be happy to respond, or you can let me know in the comments down below. I hope you guys learned a lot from this because I pretty much explained everything. I want to be as transparent as possible, but I hope you guys, learned something from this. Start your fat loss transformation. Start it today. You now know everything you need to know. Download my free guide and you just have no excuses anymore. We'll see you guys in the next one.